Greetings, everyone. This is Josh Herring. Thank you for the honor, Bishop Bernard and all of the United Pentecostal Church General Board, Executive Board, for this wonderful opportunity to have a seminar at General Conference 2023 on fasting. It is a high honor to be asked to serve, to speak on this subject, and I thank you for it. And I esteem all of you great men and women of God very highly. If you have your Bibles, would you turn to the book of Luke, chapter 11, and verse number 1. This is the text I want to use tonight or today from this subject, Luke 11, verse 1. And it came to pass that as he was praying in a certain place, when he ceased, one of his disciples said unto him, Lord, teach us to pray, as John also taught his disciples. My assignment from the Lord for this General Conference seminar on fasting is a dimension beyond praying. A dimension beyond praying. Would you pray with me right now, wherever you are across the world? Lord Jesus, we thank you for this opportunity to speak to everyone who's hungry for the next level, hungry for answers, direction, a breakthrough. And I pray in the name of the Lord Jesus Christ that you would anoint my lips and anoint my mind to speak what you want everyone to hear. And let there be a divine impartation, I pray today, and revelation to everyone that's listening and watching in Jesus' name. Amen. Teach us to pray. That was the cry. That was the question from the disciples. We want to know how you have so much power. We connect what you do publicly to what we see you do privately. They would watch him pray in the garden, in the mountains, when no one was around, and they assumed that what he was doing publicly when he healed the sick and raised the dead was directly correlated to what he was doing privately, his prayer life, which was undoubtedly powerful. Can you imagine being there listening to Jesus pray as he was God, but yet man, speaking and praying and asking and requesting? And they heard him and they wanted to know how to pray like that, probably because they wanted to learn to be like him and operate like him. They saw him do so many things. He one time when he was asleep and they were in a storm and they were afraid and they woke him up, and the Bible said he rebuked the wind, which is so powerful to cause the wind to get weary. The Bible said the wind ceased, which means it became very weary or tired in the Greek. It became very tired, and he calmed the sea, which means he muzzled its mouth. So he rebukes the wind, which means to raise the price of, by the way, he threatened it. You're going to pay for this. And the wind got tired and he calmed the sea. He muzzled out the water. He drowned the water, and he spoke that, and they were in awe of his power. Just because he stood up and spoke, the wind was quiet and the waters were calm. And they said, we've got to learn to be like this. What does he do? It's got to be connected to his prayer life, because he prays in these mountains. He comes out of the mountains and he takes on everything and he conquers it every single time. And so they have the formula. He teaches them to pray in Luke 11 and in Matthew 6. And we know how he taught them, our Father, which art in heaven, hallowed be thy name. And he teaches them the Lord's Prayer, and they understand it and they think, okay, we've got it. We've got the formula. And when you think it's a formula, you think that all you have to learn is information, and that gives you authority. But information doesn't give you authority. Consecration is what gives you authority. And so they thought, well, we know how to pray like he prays, so let's just simply use what he says, and let's pray like that, and then let's go see how we can operate. And so in Matthew 17, here comes their first opportunity. Here comes a man with a son who's demon possessed, and when they walked up to him to try to work their power, nothing happened. In fact, they completely missed it. When he told Jesus, when he was bringing the possessed boy to Jesus after the disciples failed, he said, your disciples tried to cure my boy. They tried to cure a demon. The son wasn't a demon, but he was possessed with demons, and they were so consumed with the formula, they thought they could cure him. Be careful, because if you only have a prayer life, you can miss it. when it comes to spiritual activity. You can miss what's going on. You may not discern everything just because you pray every day. And I'm all for praying every day. Man, ought to always pray and not to faint. And I am for a prayer life. And if you don't have one, you better get one starting right now. It's the most important thing you can do on a daily basis, that and read your Bible. But Jesus saw that they tried to cure something that was possessed, and they needed to cast out something they were trying to cure, and it didn't work. And so, he said, bring the boy to me, and Jesus rebukes the devil. That's there's that rebukes again. He threatens that spirit, and the spirit leaves. And they said, how come we could not do this? What we asked you to teach us how to pray. We thought we had everything we needed, and we come head on into a situation and we don't know what to do, because prayer only got us entangled in it, but it didn't break us through. And Jesus said, some things come by only prayer and fasting. It's a dimension beyond praying. It's fuel to the fire. It's the engine in the plane. It's something that causes things to go to another level. It's one thing to pray about something. It's another thing to pray and fast about something. When you fast about a situation, you are showing the Lord and the spirit world and the situation, I am much more serious than I've ever been. When you pray about it, you can speak, and you can be very serious and very sincere and bring it to the Lord, but you can also let your flesh live. But when you are fasting about it, it's like continually praying over and over about the need, the situation. And so he tried to hint to them in Matthew 6 when they asked about praying, he taught them the Lord's Prayer. If you continue reading in Matthew 6, he said, and when you fast, he was trying to tell them there are dimensions beyond knowing how to pray. Another dimension beyond knowing how to pray is knowing how to give, but that's for another time. But he taught them how to fast. And some things only happen in your life when you learn fasting. Fasting is a subject that no one likes, and I don't care what they say, no one likes to fast. If you like to fast, I question if you are a human being or not, because if you are a human, you like to eat. You have desires, you have cravings, and that's why you eat multiple times a day. Your flesh desires food. And Jesus said, I've got to teach you something that weakens the spirit world, and that is fasting. Fasting is something that it makes the flesh uncomfortable, because it truly puts the flesh to death. It's something that the flesh does not want to go through. And no matter how many times I've motivated myself for fasts that were coming up into my life, within a few hours of that fast, that motivation was quickly changing colors, and it was not what I wanted it to be. And before long, all those rumblings in the stomach and those thoughts and those visions of food would come. And after a couple of days, 3 days, you just don't even like it. It's because you're a human being and you're made of flesh. Fasting ultimately is miserable in every circumstance. Now, let me just say this. If you've got a great prayer life, the enemy knows who you are. If you've got a prayer life and you walk with God, I promise you are known in hell. But there is something about people who fast and pray that accelerates their attention level in the spirit world. The enemy does not like people who fast and pray. You are much more dangerous. You are much more of a threat if you have a fasting life that goes along with your prayer life. Your prayer life is powerful, but if you add fasting to it, you are known in the spirit world. Let me just give you what I would think is the ultimate example of somebody who had a prayer life and then a fasting life, and the difference between both of them. Is that all right? Okay, Elijah, let's talk about his life pre-fasting. He had a prayer life. The Bible tells us he prayed earnestly. He was a man subject to like passions as we are. He was normal like all of us, but he had an extreme prayer life. He talked to God all the time. And he breaks onto the scene in our Bibles in 1 Kings 17. And man, he's almost every preacher's hero, or at least one of their heroes, because he does so many things with this prayer life he has. Just a few things: that he was the first person to ever raise someone from the dead. I mean, this is in the Old Testament, no one had raised anyone from the dead until the prayer warrior Elijah showed up on the scene. He stopped the rain. He stopped the rain for 3.5 years, not 3.5 minutes, 3.5 days, 3.5 years. In fact, he said, it's not going to rain until I say it's going to rain. That is confidence. That's authority over the atmosphere. He prayed down fire. That was the last time you prayed down fire. This is just amazing what he did. And on the top of Mount Carmel, when he said, let's see who's the Lord. And he got 63 words into a prayer meeting, and fire fell from heaven upon the sacrifice and licked up the water all around the altar that was in the trench. And it consumed everything because the prayer warrior had started praying. He started the rain again. He said, oh, by the way, there is a sound of the abundance of rain, and told Ahab, you better get going because it's about to be a very, very stormy day. And amazing how he had so much dominion, it seems like, with just a prayer life. He has not fasted at all at this point. I mean, that we know of, but we know he's praying. And you know what? Most people would be very satisfied at this level right here. Most people would think this is the apex in a relationship with God, this level of dominion, these things he is seeing. If I could ever get to that place, wow, I would have arrived. Almost everybody would fear someone so consecrated, so special to God, so holy, so focused, so intense. This man was living the life. He prayed and God moved. Almost everybody feared him, except for one person. Dear, sweet, lovely Jezebel. She was not fazed by Elijah's prayer life. I know this is a shock, but Jezebel is not fazed by prayer warriors. He meets a foe he's not equipped for with just simply having a prayer life. He is now chased into a wilderness because of one letter that she wrote to him, one threatening word, one email in today's world, one text, one message, and he is on the run. And he now is so messed up and discombobulated and disconcerted. His thoughts are so twisted. His prayer life is now affected, and I can prove it to you because the man who just said, God, you're able to do anything, and prayed down fire is now asking God in his next prayer meeting to let him die. You know the enemy is not fazed by the level you're at in your consecration when your prayer is changing to let me die. I just want to quit. Just take me out now. It's amazing how your speech will reveal that you need to fast. Your speech will reveal that what's going on around you has gotten to you, and he is now praying to the same God, but he's not praying the same way. He's not praying in confidence. He's not praying in faith. He's not praying in authority. He is praying in stress and fear and worry and anxiety and panic. And he starts running out into the wilderness, and he just says, I'm no better than my fathers. Here's another sign you need to fast. When you start comparing yourself to other people, he said, I'm no better than this person and that person. And when you start comparing yourself, your prayer life needs to go to another dimension. And Elijah is now saying things like, I'm not as good as this person, and I'm not better than this person. And he's completely distracted. People that are dead and gone on, not even alive anymore. He's trying to compete and compare himself to these people. Jezebel has messed him up. One person who wasn't fazed by his fervent walk with God is now throwing him into a tailspin to where his prayer life is falling apart. If you notice your prayer life becoming a begging life, if you notice your prayer life becoming a complaining life, if you notice your prayer life becoming a worrying life, if every time you pray, you describe how bad it is to God, he shut up. If every time you pray, you're letting God know how horrible the situation is around you, something or someone has gotten into your spirit and was not fazed by your previous encounters with God, and that spirit has messed you up and you are distracted. I want you to put this down in your spirit. The distractions will reveal themselves in your prayer time. It's not that you don't pray about it. It's that if you always pray about it, he couldn't think about how powerful God was. He couldn't remember the fire just fell. He couldn't remember the rain just fell. He couldn't remember the dead was just raised. The meal was in the barrel. The oil was in the cruse. He couldn't remember all the things God had just used him in a mighty way to perform, all because someone had said, I'm not impressed with the level of relationship you're at. I think I can throw you off your game. I think I can remove you. And that's what the spirit of Jezebel does. It intimidates, it threatens, it speaks consistently, it constantly tries to distract you with threatening words, because Jezebel wants the Elijahs to get off of the scene. Jezebel, if you've been in Pentecost very long at all, you know that Jezebel hates the prophetic. We've heard that. Jezebel hates preachers. Jezebel hates men and women of God that operate in kingdom authority. And so we understand this is where this comes from, this mentality. This woman Jezebel, literally, I'm going to threaten you. I'm going to take your life from you. And he believed her because he's asking God to let him die. Now, did he want to die? No, he did not want to die, because the Bible said he went under a juniper tree. And so if you're trying to get shade in the desert, don't tell me you're trying to die. You're saying you want to die, but your actions are speaking that you really don't want to die. I think if he face planted in the sand and said, I'm not getting up, this might be a different story, but he went to find shade. And then he starts saying, I just want to die. See, here's the problem. God knows what you're saying, and God knows what you really want. God knows what you say you want, and God knows what you really desire. And so he's saying, I just want to die. But what he's really saying is, I just need to recover. I need some strength. I need some energy. I need some hope. I need something to look forward to. Angel comes down, and the dimension of fasting breaks out. Angel says, eat this meal, makes him a cake and some water, and says, eat this meal. The journey is too great for you. And he's unprepared for this dimension. He has no idea what's going on. He eats part of the meal, doesn't eat all the meal, goes back to sleep. And the angel, you don't understand, Elijah, you're about to go into a fast. You're about to not eat for 40 days. You are about to really enter something that you've never seen before. You need to finish this meal. A lot of people say, go into your fast with some apples and broccoli. And maybe this sounds like I don't have temperance, but when I'm going to go on a long fast, I'm not getting there thinking, let me have one last little smoothie before I don't eat for the next several days or weeks. Or I'm like, let me have some food, because I know I'm getting ready not to have any. And if you don't agree with that, well, you don't agree with God, because God told him to eat cake for his last meal. So there goes that little theory for your little health conscious. But anyway, so the angel said, eat this cake, and you're going on a fast. And so here he goes, and he fasts 40 days. Now think about this. And this guy, he's so messed up. I mean, he's fasting and he's climbing the same mountain. The Lord says, the angels go to the Mount Horeb. It's the same mountain Moses climbed when Moses fasted 40 days twice. And yet here's Elijah going halfway up the mountain, and he stops in a cave. And this is the same mountain that the last guy that fasted met God on the top of the mountain, got the 10 commandments and all that stuff. And yet he's stopping halfway because he's so discouraged by the spirit of Jezebel, by the threat of Jezebel. And so he's in a cave, and the story that the Lord said, what doest thou here? Because the last guy that fasted and met me on the top of the mountain. He was ready to see things happen, and you're just trying to survive. But so he talks to him and he tells him some things, and Elijah finishes his 40-day fast. And I want to show you what he became after 40 days that he wasn't before 40 days. All right. Number one, first thing that happens, Jezebel disappears from Elijah's life. Jezebel disappears from Elijah's life. Interesting what fasting will do to the spirit of Jezebel. And of course, later she is conquered by people he had anointed, and by Jehu, and which came through different anointings. This is all the Lord's plan, but fasting brings down these spirits, these strongholds. First thing is he enters a new dimension called impartation. Okay, the angel of the Lord told him, "You're going to go anoint this person and this person," and now he becomes this world-changing prophet who's got global authority to release people from what they're doing and connect them to God's destiny for them. He has I want you to get this. He has authority to turn nobodies into somebodies. Elisha is just plowing a field. He's a farmer one moment, and the next moment he is following Elijah, chasing a double portion of his spirit. This is post-fast. He's got kings that he can anoint and make them kings. This is a whole different dimension. Moses fasted 40 days and laid hands on Joshua and imparted some of his honor. Jesus went on a disciple hunt after fasting 40 days. It's no coincidence that Elijah is looking for people when he finishes his 40-day fast. One of the first things I learned from the great late Eli Hernandez was that when you get called to a 40-day fast, he said, that's always going to be for others when you get done. Your life will be spent for others when that fast is over, because that is the signal in the spirit world that you are now a vessel for everybody else. And so it's true. These men that fasted 40 days in the Bible, they spent the rest of their time on the earth helping others get to their destiny, their promised land, their miracle, their breakthrough. This is no coincidence that Elijah is it a coincidence that Jesus, Elijah, and Moses are the three people on the Mount of Transfiguration later on? I don't know. But I do know the first thing that happens post-fast is he has the ability to impart. Truly impart. A lot of people think I imparted something, but true impartation, I want you to get this too. There is evidence that follows after it. So I impart this and in that, but if the person doesn't become anything or walk in it, did you really impart that? When Elijah imparted something, people went from captains to kings, from farmers to prophets, from servants to kings. Joshua went from captain of the host to the leader of Israel. I mean, when people truly impart something and God's behind it, there is a change in the person that they're imparting to's life. There is a destiny altering anointing that gets on them. They become a different person. That is impartation. Impartation changes the person's future that you pray for. Now, here's the next thing he stepped into. He called down fire. Now, the Bible said that in this in 2 Kings that he was on the mountain. Captain is sent out with 50 soldiers, and the captain said, "O man of God, if you're really a man of God, the king," or he said, "O man of God, the king has said, come down." And he said, "If I'm just a man of God, let fire fall, consume you and your 50. Boom. Second captain shows up. "Hey, if you're a man of God, the king said, come down quickly," which means come down right now. He said, "Oh, I'm just a man of God." Boom. The fire fall and consume you and your 50. 102 men dead. Third captain with 50 men said, "Whoa, whoa, whoa, please spare me, spare me." What's the difference in the Elijah before with the fire and Elijah now? The difference is before fasting, Elijah had to pray down the fire. Post fasting, Elijah calls down the fire. That's dominion. That's going from opinion to dominion right there. Fasting takes you from opinion to dominion. The critics are usually people who never fast, but the people that walk in dominion, they may never say anything. They may never tell you. There might be silent soldiers, but they know they have it. They know they've got something, and they may never share it with you, but they have something. And he said, fire, fall down now. That is dominion. Before, he didn't say fire, fall down. He said, oh God. And he starts praying because he wants the Lord to come through. But now he knows I walk in the dimension that I fasted myself into. Now he parts the Jordan River. He parts it. Who else parted it? Moses had parted the Red Sea. Joshua had parted the Jordan River. But now Elijah's parting the Jordan River. He said, I can walk anywhere. No matter what's in my way, no matter what obstacles flowing in front of me, I can walk anywhere in this world in dominion when I have fasted. That is the authority Elijah's in now. He's not just simply saying, well, let's see what happens. He can take that mantle, wham, hit that water, and everything splits, and he walks where he wants to walk. Fasting gives you the ability to walk where you want to walk. Isaiah 58 even tells you this. He'll give you the places. You'll be able to walk on these places. He'll take you to the high places the Bible talks about. This is the revelation of fasting. Heavenly transportation. Jesus, Moses, and Elijah. All three fasted 40 days. Moses dies in a mountain. We never found his body. God hid it. Jesus is carried up into heaven. Elijah carried into it with a whirlwind. Jesus in the clouds. We all know there's something different about them. Why? They fasted like no one ever fasted. Let me just tell you something right now. If you really want the answer, you'll fast for it. And if you don't get it on the fast and you eat, you'll fast again, and you'll fast again, and you'll fast again. You'll seek it. There is a hunger. There is a desire. Let me just tell you something the Lord told me today. If you're going to conquer anything that's controlling, you've got to create something in your own life, a routine, a process. Create that in your own life. Conquer you, and you'll conquer what's controlling you. Conquer you, and you'll conquer what's controlling everything around you. Jezebel is going to fall when Elijah puts himself on the altar. Elijah can put other things on the altar. Jezebel's not fazed by it. But when Elijah gets on the altar, Jezebel's on her way down. She's going to fall eventually, because there's something about the level beyond fasting which conquers what's in control. Let me say this to you right now. If you don't know how to do it, get your pastor's approval, authority. Make sure you're covered. But just start with one day if you're physically able. Fasting is not eating. Eating is not fasting. I know that's not going to be popular. I'm sorry for that, but it's the truth. Fasting is not eating. You can call it fasting all you want to. It's a consecration. Well, I'm fasting ice cream. That's wonderful, but you're not really fasting. Fasting is not eating at all, okay? That's fasting. It's difficult. It's not easy to do. But when you do it, things begin to open up. I can tell you right now, I can tell you something. After several very long fasts over the years, that most of the time, to get the answers I desire now, I don't have to go on super long fast. I can get answers quickly. A couple of days, 3 days, I can get things stirred in the spirit. It used to, if I did 3 days, nothing happened. But now if I do 2 to 3 days, it gets crazy every time. And the reason is because of all the fasts. And if you just make it your mind, I'm going to give my life to fasting and prayer. You don't have to go on 40-day fast every time, or 21-day fast, or 17-day fast, or whatever, 7-day fast. But 2-3 days will stir things up, and answers will come. Let me pray for you right now. Let me pray for you. Would you raise your hands wherever you are? And would you receive this? And I want this to come into your spirit. By the authority of the word of God, and by the power of the name of the Lord Jesus, and by the anointing of the Holy Ghost that's upon me, I release a spirit of fasting upon every man, woman, boy, and girl who's desiring direction, answers, protection, healing. In the name of Jesus Christ, I release this to you right now. and you will see things you've never seen. Go places you've never gone. Get direction you've never received before, and the Lord will do something amazing in your future. I command you to be blessed. Do not be afraid. Step into the next season beyond praying, and you will see the power of God working in your life in ways you've never seen before. What are you waiting for? The future is waiting. Your destiny is waiting. Go pursue it. Fast your way into it. You can eat the rest of your life, but right now is the time. Go get your answer. The Lord bless you.